Hello, trading is closed on April 16th, 2019. We'll go over our calls. We said there was a target of 2902.37, most likely to print today, but that almost always the pattern would gap up. Well, we had the gap up, and one of my rules is when you gap strongly in the undesired direction, we lose confidence that this target's going to print within its preferred time frame. It doesn't mean I'm predicting it won't print, but I'm no longer printing. I would no longer be predicting it would, but it did. And as usual, there was support under the price target. During the day, MEJT said ultimately lower prices would print, which they did. Says this move here is false, and we should hit 29.10 even cash. We came within 1 cent of that target here. It's enough to make the target optional. It doesn't really have to print, but almost always it will. Now, before we go over the call for tomorrow, I also said today would be a day with the early high, which it was, and tomorrow's a day with the early low. Before going over tomorrow's call, let's review a few of the rules I've imposed on myself. First of all, on my channel, I don't waste people's time. I explain the reasons behind the calls, and I call the move before it happens, or I keep quiet. And if anybody wants to post on my channel, it's fine, but I'm requiring people to obey the same rules. There's one guy makes an irrelevant comment every day. It's a waste of time. No one's interested in it. Please stop. I have people who make predictions without giving the reasons. I don't care if they're good or they're bad. No one's going to act on the call if he doesn't know the reason behind it. Either give the reason or please stop. And don't wait till something happens and then say it was obvious and you made money on it. Nobody cares. A few people have repeatedly violated the rules. I'm going to start blocking them if they don't change their ways. All right, well, this is 2 days in a row we close. It'll change. Usually equilibrium like this gets followed by a pretty sizable move, but usually doesn't tell us what direction. There are mixed signals again, so that makes it most likely will gap and promptly trade outside the range. Next most likely we close, it'll change, and least likely by a large margin either one of those things happen. It's positive we have a higher target. It's positive we have a pattern with the early low and the late high, and unless we drop early, it usually is a positive day, closing near the high. What's negative is we've now gapped up 3 days straight, and we can't close over the initial high. So we're gapping up, showing public enthusiasm, but then we're unable to get follow through. It's negative, but for confirmation you have to go under the lows, and for negation of this signal you have to go over the high. It's also negative when you gap up and at the close you're under the low of the first consolidation low. It means this was public enthusiasm and that it was not shared by other market participants. It's also negative when you come this close to a target. It's called a direct hit. It can lead to some pretty good sized moves. But of course you don't know if you're going to surpass it until it's too late to act on it. Now we are at a significant resistance level, which we've shown before. If we're going to continue going up, the ideal situation is to gap over that line. But if this line holds, if it holds, and I'm not saying it will, trying to close this without much luck. It's frozen on me. If it holds, we could actually be in for a pretty sizable drop here. I still have these targets I want to see print. But if we gap up and go over it, there's nothing I see to stop the rally from continuing. The first hour or two should tell the tale. If we can hold on and avoid a big drop in the first hour or two, I think the odds favor higher. But if we gap down smartly, undercut these lows, There's a chance this high could hold for a while, though I'm not convinced it's the end of this leg. And that's today's call.